There are moments in life when your heart feels pulled in every direction, when you see people struggling, broken, or lost, and something inside you says, help them. That instinct is noble. That compassion is divine. But not every person you feel called to help is sent by God. Some are sent by darkness to drain your light. Some are not a test of your kindness. They are a test of your discernment. There are people who will use your goodness as their ladder, and once they've climbed high enough, they'll kick it away. There are people who wear the mask of need but carry a spirit of destruction. And if you do not learn to discern who they are, your blessings will be stolen by the very ones you try to lift. God does not call you to be everyone's savior. He calls you to walk in wisdom. You must understand that helping without discernment can become disobedience. Many people have delayed their destiny because they refuse to let go of those God never assigned to them. You cannot carry everyone into your promise. You cannot pour into every cup. Some cups are cracked, and no matter how much you pour, it will never fill. You will give your energy, your peace, your faith, and still they will remain empty. Not because they need more from you, but because they refuse to fix what's broken within them. There are people who don't want transformation. They want attention. They don't want correction. They want sympathy. They don't want to rise. They want you to fall with them. And if you keep rescuing them, you are standing in the way of what God Himself is trying to teach them. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes the most spiritual act is silence. Sometimes obedience means letting God deal with them, not you. The first type of person you must never help is the one who refuses to take responsibility for their own life. They blame everyone for their situation, their parents, their job, their friends, the world, even God. They live in a constant state of victimhood. And no matter how many times you give them advice, money, or comfort, they will always return to the same pit. Why? Because they are not looking for change. They are looking for someone to carry their excuses. You cannot deliver someone who enjoys their prison. You cannot help someone who has made pain their identity. God never rewards laziness or blame. He rewards effort, faith, and accountability. When you help someone who refuses to take responsibility, you are partnering with their dysfunction. You are financing their stagnation. Step back and let them face themselves. Until they are ready to confront the truth, your help will only feed their weakness. The second type of person you must not help is the one who dishonors your presence. There are people who are drawn to your light but despise the source of it. They love what you can do for them, but they do not value who you are. They come to you for advice but never listen. They call you in crisis, but when peace returns, they disappear. They take, and take again. But gratitude never crosses their lips. You must understand, God does not bless dishonor. The moment you allow people to take from you without respect, you are teaching them that your time, your wisdom, and your peace are cheap. Protect your value. Protect your energy. When you keep helping those who mock or disregard your worth, you are not being humble. You are being careless with the treasure God gave you. The third type of person you must not help is the one who rebels against divine truth. These are people who hear wisdom but reject it. They know what is right but choose what is wrong. They walk in pride, refusing to humble themselves, yet when trouble comes, they want you to fix what their rebellion caused. You cannot rescue someone from consequences they keep creating. If God allows a storm to humble them and you interfere, you are standing between them and their awakening. Sometimes God uses pain to break arrogance. Sometimes He allows failure to reveal the futility of rebellion. Do not interrupt that process. There are moments when stepping back is not cruelty, it is alignment with the divine order. When you help those who defy truth, you are not saving them. You are opposing what God is doing in their life. The fourth type of person you must not help is the one who constantly drains your spirit. There are people who carry an energy that suffocates your peace. Every time you speak with them, you feel weaker. Every time you try to encourage them, they respond with doubt, fear, and negativity. They are not seeking light, they are addicted to darkness. They will find a problem in every solution, a storm in every blessing, a reason to complain in every sunrise. You must learn this truth. You cannot heal someone who is committed to hopelessness. God never called you to be the savior of everyone's emotional world. Protect your spirit from spiritual leeches. If being around someone constantly steals your joy, your clarity, your focus, that is a sign God is telling you to create distance. Your peace is not selfish, it is sacred. The fifth type of person you must not help is the one who uses manipulation disguised as need. These are the ones who cry when they want control, who act broken to make you feel guilty, who twist kindness into obligation. They study your compassion and use it against you. They know you hate to see people suffer, so they will act like they cannot survive without you, not because they truly need you, but because they fear losing your attention. Understand this clearly. Guilt is not guidance. If you are helping someone because you feel pressured, not because you feel led, that is not God, that is manipulation. The enemy often enters through emotional guilt. Stand firm in discernment. You owe no one access to your energy if their motives are deceitful. Real love never manipulates. True. Need never controls. The sixth type of person you must not help is the one who envies you. They smile when you near, but secretly compete with you. They act like your friend, but secretly hope you fail. When you succeed, they grow silent. When you struggle, they suddenly reappear. These are dangerous souls because they carry hidden poison. Their envy is not always spoken, it is spiritual. You will feel it. Every time you help them, something within you feels uneasy. That is your inner spirit warning you. This connection is not pure. Do not ignore that signal. Helping someone who envies you is like feeding a snake. No matter how kind you are, one day it will bite. Love them from afar. Pray for their healing. But do not share your plans, your vision, or your heart with them. God removes some people from your path, not because they are bad, but because they cannot handle your destiny. The seventh type of person you must not help is the one who resists the growth. They have been given opportunity after opportunity, but they remain the same. You advise them, you pray for them, you open doors for them, yet they never walk through. Why? Because growth requires humility. Growth requires the willingness to change, to learn, to be uncomfortable. And these people are addicted to comfort. They want blessings without transformation, promotion without discipline, miracles without obedience. You cannot drag someone into maturity. You cannot give motivation to a soul that has chosen stagnation. Every time you try to carry them, you are slowing yourself down. Some people do not need another chance. They need to feel the weight of their choices. Let God handle them. Your assignment is not to keep them comfortable, but to stay aligned with the divine purpose. Helping others is sacred, but helping the wrong people can become a curse. God never designed you to be drained, used, or manipulated. He designed you to operate in wisdom. There is a time to give, and there is a time to walk away. There is a time to support, and there is a time to be still. Discernment is not coldness, it is protection. When you follow God, He will teach you when your helping hand become a hindrance. Many people pray for strength, but God's strength often comes through separation. He removes certain people so your energy can return, your peace can rise, and your faith can breathe again. When you stop helping those He did not send you to, doors open, blessings flow, clarity returns. The same time you once wasted trying to fix people becomes time you use to fulfill your purpose. You must understand there is a difference between being kind and being careless. True kindness has boundaries. Even God sets limits. He gives freely, but not without order. He forgives, but He also corrects. He blesses, but He also withdraws from the ungrateful. If the Creator Himself uses discernment in mercy, so should you. Sometimes the hardest act of obedience is to stop helping someone you love, because love often blinds discernment. But remember, love without wisdom becomes distraction. If helping them keeps you anxious, confused, or exhausted, that is not divine love. That is spiritual manipulation. Real love releases. When God says release, real love trusts that letting go is not cruelty, it's alignment. There are people whose lives will never improve because they always have someone rescuing them from consequences. Do not play the role of their deliverer. If they fall, let them rise through experience. If they fail, let them find strength in reflection. The greatest lessons often come through pain, not comfort. And if you keep rescuing them, you are denying them the very experience that could transform them. Helping without boundaries does not make you godly. It makes you unwise. You are not called to carry the entire world, only what God placed in your hands. When you start saying no to the wrong people, you are saying yes to divine direction. Do not fear being misunderstood. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always call you selfish when you stop serving their agenda. Let them talk. Let them go. You answer to God, not to human opinion. God will always test your heart through people. Some will be genuine assignments. Your help will heal them. Others will be distractions. Your help will drain you. Pray for discernment daily. Ask God, who is my assignment and who is my distraction? Because the wrong connection can delay your entire destiny. There are helpers who lose their calling because they kept feeding takers. There are dreamers who never built their vision because they kept saving people who refuse to change. Your destiny deserves your focus, not your exhaustion. You are not created to be everyone's solution. You are created to walk in divine purpose, and purpose requires separation. Do not let guilt keep you in relationships God has already ended. Do not let emotion keep you attached to people who only bring confusion. Your peace is your sign. If helping them keeps stealing your peace, God is showing you that your assignment there is over. When you stop helping those who resist growth, who disrespect your value, who manipulate your kindness, or who envy your progress, you make room for divine alignment. You create space for the right people, the ones who value your presence, who multiply your peace, and who help you rise higher in faith and strength. Helping is holy, but helping the wrong person is disobedience. Be wise with your compassion. Guard your energy. Protect your calling. Not everyone who cries deserves your hand. Some only need to feel the weight of silence. Not everyone who asks deserves your time. Some only want your attention, not your wisdom. Pray before you give. Listen before you move. Discern before you act. For every person you are meant to help, there will always be another sent to distract you. When you finally learn this truth, your life will shift. You will stop chasing approval and start walking in purpose. You will stop trying to save everyone and start building what God placed inside you. And as you walk in this divine clarity, you will discover that peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of order, God's order. When God begins to elevate your life, He will also begin to expose the people who cannot go with you. That is not punishment, it is protection. God will start showing you who truly stand for you and who only stand near you for their own benefit. Some people come into your life not as blessing, but as barriers. They are not there to support your mission. They are there to drain your focus. And if you do not separate when God shows you the truth, you will lose time, peace, and divine momentum. Helping the wrong people can blind you to the right ones. That is why discernment is one of the highest forms of wisdom. You cannot walk in divine favor and still ignore divine warning. There are people who disguise themselves as humble when in truth they carry hidden pride. They act like they need you, but deep down they resent that they do. These are the ones who pretend to be teachable, but the moment you correct them, they withdraw. You pour into them, yet they secretly measure your flaws. You try to guide them, but they use your words to compete with you. This kind of person is a danger to your peace. Do not mistake false humility for faith. True humility listens. True humility honors correction. True humility does not pretend to learn while waiting to surpass you. When you help such people, you are not lifting them. You are empowering deceit. Let them walk their own path. God will teach them what your words could not. You must understand that God allows certain people to fail, not because He delights in their downfall, but because He wants them to wake up. Pain can be a stronger teacher than advice. Some people will never grow until the comfort of dependency is taken away. If you keep cushioning every fall, they will never learn to stand. Sometimes God's mercy is disguised as distance. When He tells you to step back, it's not because He wants you to stop caring. It is because He wants your caring to stop interfering. There is a difference between compassion and interference. Compassion says, I want you to rise. Interference says, I'll carry you so you don't have to. God does not build the strength through rescue. He builds it through responsibility. There is also the type of person who mistakes your kindness for weakness. They think that because you are gentle, you can be used. They think that because you give easily, you will never stop. But God is not mocked. The one who takes advantage of kindness is not fooling you. They are provoking divine correction. Never feel guilty for walking away from those who abuse your heart. God does not reward those who tolerate manipulation. He rewards those who honor truth. When you stop allowing yourself to be used, you are not being cruel, you are being obedient, because your purpose is sacred. And God will not allow it to be contaminated by those who see your generosity as a tool for their convenience. Do not allow your empathy to become your enemy. Many who walk in compassion end up exhausted because they never learn the discipline of no. The word no can be an act of worship when it protects what God has entrusted to you. Every no to distraction is a yes to your destiny. There are people who will make you feel guilty for choosing peace over chaos. But remember, your peace is not negotiable. If your presence brings calm, but theirs brings confusion, you already have your answer. God does not call you to keep walking into storms you were once delivered from. Sometimes the test is not whether you can love, but whether you can let go. One of the greatest truths in life is that not everyone who cries deserves comfort. Some tears are sincere, but others are strategic. There are people who cry not because they are broken, but because they want control. Their sadness is a weapon. Their pain is their power over compassionate hearts. You must learn to listen beyond emotion. Ask God to give you spiritual ears to hear the intent behind the words, to sense the spirit behind the plea. God will show you when a cry for help is real and when it is manipulation. If He tells you to walk away, do not hesitate. Your obedience may be the very thing that forces that person to seek God instead of leaning on you. There will be moments when your heart says help, but your spirit says wait. Listen to your spirit. God will never guide you into something that drains your peace. Peace is His signature. Whenever your help feels forced, heavy, or confusing, that is a sign that God is not in it. Divine help always carries clarity, not chaos. You will know it because it flows naturally. It strengthens both you and the person you help. But when your helping turns into a cycle of constant saving, constant rescuing, constant fatigue, you are outside of divine order. There are also those who appear helpless but secretly carry pride that refuses correction. They want your assistance but not your advice. They want your resources but not your wisdom. They want your hand but not your direction. And when you try to speak truth into their lives, they turn cold or defensive. Understand this: helping someone who rejects truth is like pouring water into sand. It disappears, leaving no growth behind. God never blesses arrogance. And when you help someone walk in pride, you align yourself with their downfall. Step aside. Let them wrestle with their choices. Your silence will teach more than your words ever could. Sometimes God tests your heart by bringing you people who remind you of your old self, broken, lost, confused. You will feel compassion because you've been there. But discernment will remind you that not everyone who shares your pain shares your path. You cannot save everyone who struggles the way you once did. Some must walk through their own wilderness. You may feel their pain deeply, but that does not mean you are called to carry it. Even in compassion, there must be boundaries. For if you become consumed by another's chaos, you will lose your own clarity. There are also those who want your help, but not your peace. They want your energy, but not your alignment. They will drain you, distract you, and then disappear when you are empty. You will wonder why you feel spiritually tired after being with them. That is because they are not aligned with your divine purpose. Their spirit resists your peace. And the moment you stop feeding them, they turn against you. Do not take that personally. That is proof that your light exposed their darkness. When people react negatively to your boundaries, it is because they benefited from your lack of them. Helping others is noble, but when it becomes endless repair, you must ask, am I doing this for God? Or am I doing this to feel needy? Because sometimes the desire to help comes not from divine assignment, but from emotional attachment. The desire to fix can be a disguised form of pride, the belief that you can do what only God can. Release that burden. You were never called to be anyone's savior. You were called to be a vessel, nothing more, nothing less. A vessel must pour when God says pour and stay still when God says still. If you pour without permission, you empty yourself in places that will never value your oil. Many people fail to reach their next season because they are busy maintaining others who refuse to move. Every time you carry someone who has no intention of walking, you delay your own journey. You must choose obedience over attachment. Sometimes love means saying, I care for you, but I will not carry you. That statement does not make you heartless, it makes you wise. For even divine love operates in order. God helps those who move in faith, not those who live in excuses. There are seasons when God will call you to isolation, not as punishment, but as purification. He removes the voices that keep you dependent on human approval. He cuts off relationships that confuse your discernment. In their silence, you will learn to hear Him clearly. You will see how much of your helping was driven by fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being seen as unkind. But when you walk with God, you realize that obedience is greater than approval. If your heart is right with God, you need not explain your decision to anyone. The people you help should bring peace to your soul, not heaviness to your spirit. If their presence constantly disturbs your focus, they are not your assignment. Real connections are mutual. They uplift, they strengthen, they inspire. But toxic ones are parasitic. They take and never give. They promise loyalty but deliver confusion. They talk of unity but sow division. Helping them is like watering weeds. They grow quickly, but they choke the garden of your purpose. Guard your garden. Guard your peace. Guard your spirit. God will never require you to destroy yourself to prove your kindness. True kindness honors balance. The same God who commands love also commands wisdom. You must learn to see beyond emotion and act from discernment. When God tells you to help, you will feel a divine flow. Peace will confirm it. But when He tells you to hold back, obedience will protect you. Every no spoken in alignment with God saves you from 100 battles later. There will be times when the people you refuse to help will accuse you of being selfish, arrogant, or cold. They will twist your silence into betrayal. But do not be moved. Let them speak. Let them misunderstand. You are not responsible for their perception. You are responsible for your obedience. When you stand firm, when you follow the quiet voice of God rather than the loud cries of manipulation, you step into spiritual authority. You will find yourself lighter, freer, and more peaceful than ever before. And soon you will see why God removed certain people. Because the moment you let them go, doors you never imagined will open. Energy will return. Ideas will flow. Your spirit will breathe again. You will realize that your delay was never due to lack of ability. It was due to misplaced loyalty. You were busy helping those who had no intention of walking with you. But now God will send new people, those aligned with your vision, those who carry the same light, those who multiply your peace instead of consuming it. Helping others is divine when directed by God. It becomes destruction when driven by guilt. You are not called to be drained. You are called to overflow. And overflow only happens when you pour where God instructs. Choose your soil wisely. Not every hand that reaches deserves your help. Some reach to be lifted. Others reach to pull you down. Pray for discernment. Because when you learn whom to help and whom to release, you enter the realm of divine balance, the place where peace guides every decision and God directs every step. And remember, when God removes people from your path, do not chase them. Do not question it. Do not mourn what was meant to end. God sees what you do not. Some people must exit your life so your destiny can enter. Your peace is the confirmation. When the burden lifts, that was God's hand releasing you. When confusion fades, that was God's wisdom guiding you. And when clarity returns, That was God's voice whispering, now you are ready to walk with me. When God starts preparing you for the next level of your destiny, He will often begin by testing your heart through people. Some will come wrapped in need and others cloaked in admiration. Some will appear helpless and others will appear wise. But look closer, not every cry for help is a divine signal to act. Sometimes it is a trap of distraction sent to derail your progress. Every person who crosses your path is either a seed or a weed. One will multiply your peace, the other will choke your purpose. That is why God gives discernment, not so you may judge, but so you may guard what is sacred. Discernment is not suspicion. Suspicion looks through fear. Discernment looks through wisdom. Discernment does not say, this person is bad. It says, this connection is not right. There is a difference. Some people are not evil. They are simply not meant for your journey. God designed every soul for a particular season. And when that season ends, holding on becomes disobedience. The pain of release is temporary, but the cost of holding on is eternal delay. If you continue to pour into those who refuse to grow, you will dry up before you ever reach your divine assignment. There is a power in silence. When you stop rescuing everyone who calls, you make room for God to speak. There are moments when the most spiritual thing you can do is to say nothing, to stop explaining yourself, to stop fixing everyone's problems, and to let God be God. You were never meant to carry the emotional burdens of the world. Your strength has a divine purpose, and it must be reserved for what truly matters. Every time you exhaust yourself for the ungrateful, you are robbing your destiny of its strength. Some people only value you when they need something. When they are full, they forget your kindness. When they are empty, they return as if nothing happened. Do not be deceived. Gratitude reveals truth. When a person can take your time, your love, your help, and offer no appreciation, it is a sign that their spirit is not aligned with yours. God values gratitude because it reveals the condition of the heart. A thankful heart multiplies blessings. An ungrateful one repels them. You cannot help someone who despises the very hand that feeds them. God watches how you use your compassion. Compassion is holy, but it must be guided. If your compassion leads you to compromise your peace, it is no longer compassion, it is bondage. The moment you are helping becomes a source of anxiety, confusion, or fatigue, you must ask, is this still my assignment? God never calls you to what destroys your clarity. Peace is the confirmation of divine direction. If peace is absent, God's approval is not there. Do not confuse guilt with guidance. Guilt says, you must help or you are heartless. Guidance says, help only when it strengthens both souls. The voice of guilt will keep you trapped in cycles of exhaustion. The voice of God will lead you into balance. When you feel pressure to help, pause and pray. God will either give you peace to proceed or conviction to stay still. Never move under emotional manipulation. Move only under divine instruction. You see, not every act of helping is holy. Sometimes helping becomes a form of pride, a subtle belief that you can fix what only God can. The moment you take the place of divine intervention, you remove the opportunity for that person to seek God themselves. Some people will never look upward as long as they can look sideways. And if you keep being the one they run to, you become the replacement for the one they should depend on. Let God take His place. Let them experience the emptiness that drives them back to faith. When you help people who constantly reject truth, you are not serving them. You are strengthening their rebellion. When you continue to comfort those who misuse you, you are teaching them that love tolerates abuse. When you give endlessly to those who never give back, you are telling them that your time is not valuable. You must correct the message you are sending. Love without boundaries is not love, it is surrender. Real love protects itself because it knows that peace is sacred. Some will misunderstand your withdrawal. They will say you have changed, become cold, or lost compassion. But what they call distance, God calls discipline. The discipline to protect your purpose, the discipline to walk away from confusion, the discipline to honor the boundaries God placed around your heart. You are not being cruel when you set limits. You are being wise. For wisdom does not give endlessly, it gives strategically. You must also understand that every divine calling requires separation. When God wants to elevate you, He will remove the voices that keep you small. He will strip away relationships that distract your focus. This separation will hurt because your heart will still care. But do not mistake pain for loss. It is preparation. God removes what cannot handle where He is taking you. If you keep trying to carry those He has released, you are fighting divine timing. Your path requires lightness. Let go of the weight. So if today you feel drained, overwhelmed, or burdened by those who take without giving, it is time to listen. God is calling you to a higher level of discernment. He is teaching you that compassion without boundaries becomes chaos. He is inviting you to rest, to realign, to trust that saying no is sometimes the most spiritual act you can perform. And when you finally learn this truth, when you master the art of helping with wisdom, not emotion, you will discover the peace that passes understanding. You will walk lighter, love purer, and give smarter. You will no longer fear saying no, because you will know that your obedience is your offering. You will see that you do not need to be everything for everyone. You only need to be faithful to what God asks of you. In that place of divine order, your life becomes a vessel of balance and power. You will help those who are ready, guide those who are humble, uplift those who are sincere. And for the rest, you will trust God to handle what your hands cannot. That is true wisdom. That is true strength. That is divine peace, the kind of peace that cannot be taken, only protected. And in that peace, you will finally see that helping everyone was never your purpose. Walking in obedience to God's direction was always your true calling.